Hello, everybody, and welcome to Friends of the Force, a Star Wars podcast. I'm your host, Brad.
And I'm your host, Sarah.
And we are back from Star Wars Celebration, ladies and gentlemen.
How you feeling, Brad?
I'm feeling all right. I'm tired. I'm really tired. I'm exhausted.
Me too. Yeah.
Holy moly. It was a long week in Anaheim.
It was a long week and a good week, like a really good week, but wow, a long week.
Yeah, Monday to Monday, 3-hour time zone difference, and then coming back, and I'm going to sleep still at 4 a.m. here.
Mm-hmm. That's me.
Watching
That's
Kenobi.
me agreeing with a yawn.
So, good thing I took the week off work following Celebration, because I really needed it.
Yeah, I wasn't so smart in that regard. I pretty much came home Tuesday night, went to work all Wednesday. That was a regrettable choice. But Thursday, Friday is my weekend typically. So I'm back to it being weekend and I very desperately need it. I think I'm going to sleep all day tomorrow. Not joking.
That's a good plan.
Yeah.
Yeah. And everybody's getting sick after Celebration now. So it's just been, it has been really bad for a lot of people, unfortunately. And hopefully everybody who is sick is starting to feel better. But
whether or not you were at Celebration, please take care of yourselves. Test on the regular.
Yeah.
Wear masks, when you're in large gatherings. Care for yourself and for your community. I beg of you. It's the only thing that we can do to keep each other safe. So yeah, hope everybody who's sick is doing all right. Hopefully if anybody's finding out that they're sick, you're also doing all right. It was quite a time. There were a lot of people there, and ReedPop was not quite enforcing their mask mandate. And by quite, I mean not enforcing their mask mandate at all. And that was a bit disappointing, considering I think many took the risk, evaluated their own risk in going with that consideration in mind. Mm-hmm. And so it was disappointing to see that they had changed that. And that clearly changed the level of safety and health safety at the convention. So yeah, hope everybody's doing okay. Hope you're well. Hope it's just a little cold and nothing more, if you're feeling sick. But again, please take care of yourself because you deserve that.
Yeah. But hey, con crud, I guess, is a thing. And then laryngitis is going around and flu's going around, and then there's COVID. So it was just a brewing pot of disease that I was not excited about. It was not great. But hey, we're back. We had a really good week. We had a really fun weekend. There's so much Star Wars news that has come out of Celebration. So that's kind of why we're here today. We want to talk about our experience at Celebration Anaheim. You want to go through some of the biggest news that stuck out to us and talk through what we're most excited for, because there was a lot revealed that piqued our interest, and it's a really good time to be a Star Wars fan. I keep saying this, we got Kenobi currently on TV. We got many more shows on the way this fall and into the spring. And if you're a book fan, there is a lot there as well.
So many books.
Oh my gosh.
Many books.
We keep going back and forth. We're we're kind of a book podcast, and we're well, books are a lot of work. So what if we just become a TV podcast?
Well, that's what I've been saying. I love books, but I'm a bookseller. I love books, but I'm always behind. And now I'm well, what if we just became a TV podcast?
And we've just been doing both, but now we're approaching this crossroads where it's there's so many books and so many TV shows, and we're just gonna overwork ourselves because we're insane people. So who hosts a Star Wars podcast?
If anybody wants to pay us a salary, let us know.
Be awesome if we got paid for this.
All. Yeah. We'll be happy to do it all, but we both gotta, feed ourselves and be able to go to the doctor.
Oh man. And somehow get 8 hours of sleep, but
Right.
I just consume Star Wars for a living now, so that's what we do here.
Yeah.
All right, so Sarah, how was your whole week? We got there both on Monday. You and I met up at Disney World, downtown Disney, for the first time, seeing each other in 3 years. What a time.
What a time. I mean, we had met each other in person, but we hadn't really spent any time in person. So we kind of met each other briefly and then parted ways. So this is the first time that we ever really hung out ever. So that was like delightful and interesting, and like, oh my gosh, you know, you're weighing all those things in your mind, like, do you talk a lot? Do you not talk a lot? You know, when you're just like walking down the road, you know, like just things you wouldn't know, like what kind of ice cream do you order? I have no idea. Like, you know, I don't know. It's really interesting because it's like meeting you for the first time, but obviously we weren't, you know, we knew a lot about each other, but still a lot to learn. And that was exciting and interesting and fun to figure out. So. Yeah.
And I mean, I was already spending money at the Star Wars trading outposts as soon as I met you. I was like, hey, here's $120 CB23. Should I buy it? You're like, no, stop right now.
I'm glad you didn't, because I don't think you would have had the room.
Yeah. I actually would not have had the room. I barely made it home with my my merchandise as is, like to the point where my poster tube got crushed in its suitcase.
Did it really?
Yeah. Like it flattened. So some things were kind of creased when I got home. Not too bad, but a little bit.
Darn.
But yeah, it was really tight. It was a tight fit. And my bags were both 46 and 44 pounds. So like, I'm pretty proud of myself, honestly, all things considered, you know, getting the High Republic book set and getting a droid and getting a Star Tours statue figurine thing. I'm really surprised I was under 50 for my bags.
Yeah, good for you. I was also under 50. I brought an extra duffel, so I ended up checking 3 bags because they let me check my carry-on for free. Oh. And I was like, heck yeah, I'll check my carry-on for free. And they all ended up being under 50 pounds. I think my biggest one, which was the one that had the High Republic in it, I was most concerned about, ended up coming out to like 42. And I was like, huzzah, I've done it. So yeah, that felt really good. But I was really scared on that drive to the airport.
Yeah. Man, what a week, though. I mean, again, you and I got there and we spent Tuesday and Wednesday at Disneyland and Disney California Adventure, which like those were just such fun days. But I think you and I quickly realized like how tired we were going to be.
Well,
like I had to go to the store to get new inserts for my shoes because I was in pain.
Yeah. And then on Wednesday morning, so we kind of had decided with our group that we were going to do rope drop both Tuesday and Wednesday for, you know, Rise of the Resistance and Web Slingers. And I woke up Wednesday morning and was like, I can't move. I'm in so much excruciating pain. You guys go do it without me. So, yeah, I may have overworked myself with 17 hours in the parks on Tuesday. May not have been my best start to a long week. And I probably should have taken the advice that literally everyone, probably including myself, was saying regarding like, you know, taking it easy, not overworking yourself. So choices were made.
Yeah. I mean, I looked at my Apple Watch and it was like every day, like you've hit like 30,000 steps. And I'm like, that's too many. That's too many for me.
Yeah.
I was so tired. And like, you're not only walking, but you're just standing on concrete for very long, you know?
Yeah. A lot of standing in line.
Yeah. Like we waited in Mission Breakout for the Guardians ride for like an hour and a half to get in, but totally worth it. But it was a long wait.
Yeah, and it was all outside, which made like the sun on your face like especially killer.
Yeah.
So that wasn't super fun, but like that was okay. We made it through. But that was the first time you had been to Batuu, and I know we mentioned this a little bit in our podcast panel episode, but we didn't like, you know, go into it really deeply. But like, what did you think of Batuu experience overall? Did you have a favorite part or a favorite place in Batuu?
I loved it. Thoughts? I loved it so much. I got there Tuesday because obviously we rope dropped Rise of the Resistance, so that was a great way to kick off the morning. I think walking around Batuu in the daytime, I will be honest, I felt a little taken aback. I didn't feel as immersed as I wanted to be, and maybe that's just because of like the just amount of people that are there in the day. And like, you know, all these like strollers everywhere. There's children running around. Like it's very crazy. A lot of stuff going on. And when you get to it at night, it was like a whole different world because like it's so empty. You can walk around. We got like a little mini photo shoot with one of the photographers for like 10 minutes, which like would not happen during the day. And so you get like cool experiences like that. And you can like walk on Smuggler's Run. We were on there within like 15, 20 minutes at night too, versus like, an hour during the daytime. And I just love how all the lights light up the Batuu like Black Spire, and you get all the lightsabers that people have during the nighttime as well. So there's just a different vibe. And I really loved it during that time specifically. I felt like much more immersed, like I was in Star Wars, versus the daytime. I kind of felt the capital C capitalism of it all, I really felt it during the day. And at night, it really felt like I was in Star Wars, which I thought was cool. Unfortunately, I can't have the blue milk or the green milk because there is an ingredient in it that I am deathly allergic to. Good thing I checked the ingredient list, or that would have been a terrible week. Near-death experience. So thank you, Batuu, for having ingredient lists readily accessible, because that should be a thing that everywhere has very easily. So I appreciated that.
For sure. Sure. We're going to have to find like a blue or green milk dupe recipe that doesn't have that ingredient in it. So we can at least try something similar to it. So you can have the experience.
Yeah. I did make the mistake though on Tuesday of eating a breakfast Ronto wrap because it looks so good. It was so good. But I can't have gluten, and I almost threw up on Smuggler's Run. So that was fun.
We're all grateful that didn't happen. I think most of us, I think Brad most of all, but yeah.
I didn't think I was going to make it, especially because I know we were piloting too. So it's not like I was just on it. I was flying it, and you were flying the other piece of it, and we were like crashing a little too much. And I was like, we really need to not keep crashing.
I didn't understand whether up was down or down was up. And it wasn't my best piloting job. It wasn't great. It wasn't super good.
Not for either of us, really. It was just like, I think a smooth flying experience would have really helped. But, it was like, I'm sick, and here we are just continuously crashing into the floor. And I'm like,
that's 100% my fault. I was on the up and down.
Yeah.
So.
Hey, we got a coaxium vial though. We got one.
We did.
Which is good.
And then when we did it at the nighttime, we got two. So we just have to get one more, and we'll be part of that 3 canister crew. You know what I'm saying?
We're close. Yeah, we'll get there. But yeah, overall though, it was a great experience. How did you like your couple days at Disney?
Very, very, very chaotic, but a good time overall. Got to hang out with some friends, got to ride some rides that I wouldn't have otherwise been able to ride, and got to do it all with my friends. So like, what a blessing, And I got some pretzel ears, which were great. And then on Wednesday, I only ate pretzel bread. So may not have been my best food day of the week, but it was on brand. So
yeah, but again, it was gonna only be ham sandwiches from there on out. So like, treat yourself.
You're right. And then Thursday night at the Denny's meetup, I ended up having mozzarella sticks and bacon. So like, it really didn't even get better when I was at a sit down restaurant. So anyway,
celebration is just about getting by. As much as you can, like,
Can you survive the week?
Yeah, like on as low of a budget as possible, and like enough sustenance to actually just like keep you alive until you get home.
Right.
So yeah.
I had a smoothie bowl today, so I'm attempting to get back on track.
I have not eaten today, so that's that's a mistake.
It's the mid-afternoon, guys. I need you to know that right now.
I've
Listener,
had 2
we're recording
coffees,
this on the mid-afternoon.
So we're good. Yeah.
No, it's not good.
That's all right. Hey, though, we did some really fun things, though, at Disney on Tuesday and Wednesday and into Friday.
Yeah.
You want to talk to our listeners about a certain flight that we went on?
A certain flight that we went on?
Flight, you don't remember Flight 404? Jeez.
Oh, you mean 1401?
Sure.
It's 1401.
Okay,
Brad.
I'm a fake fan. I'm sorry.
You are a fake fan. We rode Star Tours 8 times.
Yeah.
We were so close to the 3x3 here, but we didn't quite make it. It's okay. I will get over it one day. Today's not that day. But yeah, we rode Star Tours 8 times, and it was the best ever. Turns out riding Star Tours with a bunch of people who are just as passionate about Star Tours as you are is really the best way to do it, because I went on some of the rowdiest Star Tour flights I have ever been on. So
yeah,
good.
and like Wednesdays 3 flights were after, a couple drinks at Oga's
That's
Cantina.
also true.
So it made it a little more rowdy and a little more fun. When we got the planets that we wanted.
Let's be clear here. We did, Kef beer crate. We were like, we have to go one more time. We have to go one more time to break the cycle.
This is on Tuesday, right?
Yeah, and then that night we got Tatooine Coruscant, right? Or was it Kashyyyk Coruscant?
It was, Tatooine Coruscant. It's like the pod racing sequence. And for those who haven't been on Star Tours, basically you're in like a little transport and it's a completely randomized experience. You lift off, you go to a planet, you go through that planet, hyperspace, another planet, hyperspace, and then you land. And essentially you're trying to transport a spy. So yeah, and then the Coruscant sequence was the Battle of Coruscant.
So good.
Which was insane because again, we love the sequel trilogy, but like we really did not want Kef beer anymore because like it's just, been there, done that. And it was really cool to get those prequel planets because we were really living for the prequels that week with Kenobi and like 20th anniversary of Attack of the Clones.
Prequel Renaissance in general. We were here for the vibe, but like you said, it's the Rots opening, the Battle over Coruscant, and then it goes down into the streets of Coruscant, and then they're doing the Zam Wesell chase essentially, and it's like it's the best of everything. It's so good. Yeah.
So then we go on Wednesday, and same situation. We got, instead of getting Kef beer crate twice in a row, we got Kef beer Exegol
even worse
twice in a row, which is even worse, right? And like crate was awesome because Last Jedi, like the red salt spraying on the window, like it's just so good. It's such a good level.
I will give Kef beer some credit where credit is due. It is a beautifully built sequence because like when you go down in the water and there's the Dianogas, like it's fun and the water looks really good. It's just not my favorite place to be.
Yeah. But Exegol though was like actually boring because you're just kind of flying around and nothing really interactive happens with the Star Tours ship versus like the Dianogas. You're kind of getting grabbed onto and like the pod racing scene, like you're attached to a pod racer at one point. So it's very interactive, but like Exegol just kind of felt like you were just a passenger as opposed to like
in the action,
being in the Star Wars, in the action as part of it, right?
The best part of the Exegol one is when you can see like a B wing and an A wing, and I headcanon those as my sweet babies from Alphabet Squadron.
Yeah.
So that's the best part of that one.
Yeah. Like, we're flying with Chas and Will. And, man, the whole crew's here. Yeah. So we go on it twice more and get those planets, and we're like, we got to go one more time because Tuesday, the third time was the charm. So tonight is going to be the third time's the charm. So we go on it.
Half our group splits apart because they want to go to the parade, the Main Street Electrical Parade, which like more power to them. It's a cool parade. But I was like, I gotta do Star Tours one more time. So like half our group stays back and we're gonna ride Star Tours. And we switched up our seating order and we're like, okay, it's gonna be different this time.
Yeah, we had to find out for science.
Yeah.
We had a hypothesis and we needed to see if it was correct. Yeah. So we go on it and we get Kashyyyk, which I didn't even know Kashyyyk was on Star Tours,
was like
it
was so great,
an amazing time.
Yeah.
And then we get Naboo.
Noble Naboo.
Yeah. So we're flying with the N1 starfighters. We're underneath an Uragunga. Jacked Fish is there. I'm screaming my head off, like excitedly. I'm so joyous. We're all like yelling and cheering for prequels, and oh my gosh. And then someone after came up to us and was like, you guys made the ride really fun. And I was like,
and
I don't know if she means that tongue in cheek or if she actually feels like we made it a good time.
Serious. I think she was being serious.
I think so too.
Because we were having a freaking blast.
Yeah. I genuinely think like when you're on Star Tours, there's two types of crowds. Like one that really gets into it and gets excited and like, and like oohs and ahs, and then the other that just kind of sits there and doesn't say anything, and the former is much more fun.
Yeah, we are the former, so come ride Star Tours with us, please. We have a great time.
You could say we're Star Tours stans now.
I really think so. I mean, I've always kind of loved Star Tours, like it's a fun ride, but this really solidified my real true love for Star Tours, for sure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then on Wednesday, they added all the 35th anniversary stuff into the shop.
Oh my God, the shop was changing every single time we were in there.
Yeah.
Because when we went on there on Friday, the Andor, Kenobi, and like Star Tours pins, that whole setup like wasn't even there anymore.
Right. And so I'm really glad I bought everything on Wednesday, because I would have been so sad if... I think actually on Friday they did have the Andor pins out, but they were in like a basket at the checkout line.
Oh.
So I think they had run out of the Kenobi pins and probably the Star Tours pins. But I'm really happy I picked them up when I did, because Tuesday we got in there and I was like, where's all the Star Tours merchandise? I'm a stan.
There wasn't like any merch on Tuesday. And then Wednesday it was like, here's all the merch, except for the jacket, which hasn't come out yet, guys. We're waiting for the jacket. If you see any news on the silver jacket, let us know. Please.
I mean, if you're buying it, I kind of have to buy it, because then if we go on Star Tours again eventually, like we're gonna want to...
I'm thinking about it. Thinking about it.
It's gonna be like $70 probably.
Yeah,
but it's nice.
It's
really nice.
It's nice.
Anyways, yeah. But my days at Disney like could not have gone better. I feel like, you know, as exhausting as they were, like they were so fun. Like we got dinner at the Lamplight Lounge, which was just so cool. The nachos were just so amazing.
Oh my God, you guys. I
the
had
drinks
this
were good.
Brussels sprout salad, which was like the best food I had eaten in so long. Like, holy moly. I want every meal to be as good as that Brussels sprout salad.
Could not recommend the Lamplight Lounge enough. And then we didn't even realize there was going to be a World of Color show at 9. So like we just got to sit next to the World of Color and get like a free viewing of it, basically. Free as in like, you know, we didn't have to make a lawn reservation or anything. So that was just a great way to end the night.
Yeah.
And then that was when we went on Star Tours again after dinner.
Everybody was like, we're going home. And we're like, I think we just have to go ride Star Tours one more time. And then we were like, but what if we go back to Batuu?
Yeah, well, it's your fault, because I was like, I'm so cold, I want to go home.
It was
and then you were like,
entirely my fault.
But, and then we went to Midway Mania and you're like, well, the Star Tours is only like 10 minutes. And I'm like, oh, only 10 minutes, huh? And so then we went back and there was literally nobody. It was not even 10 minutes. It was like 3 minutes.
Right onto that ride.
Yeah. And then we got off. We ran to the entrance, went back onto the line. Like we were like rowdy even at that point.
We were ready.
And got back on
really
it.
Ready to party.
Yeah. And then that's when we got the prequels and we're like, you got to stop there. You don't want to push your luck. Mm-hmm, you know, you don't want to end on another thing you don't want. So let's go back to Batuu. And yeah, that was a good choice.
Yeah.
I withstood the cold for Star Tours.
Yeah, for sure. It was worth it in the end.
Yeah. All right. So we talked a little bit about our Disney trip. So let's get into celebration on Thursday. So again, very tired. Feet are already very sore. We're getting up very early on Thursday morning to queue up, which is also a very confusing experience because we got there and I wasn't really sure where to line up for the store because we wanted the High Republic books.
Yeah.
And I wasn't really sure what was happening. But we eventually got in a basement where there was a DJ who was way too
hype for 8 in the morning.
For that early. And I was like, dude, I have not had a coffee yet. You need to relax. He's like, who here likes Star Wars? We're like, dude, stop.
We're like, yes, so we all like Star Wars.
We get it. Get it. I don't need to listen to dubstep.
He was doing his job. He was out here pumping up the crowd. Yeah. I was just a member of the crowd who was not ready to be pumped up.
Although the Like a Bantha bass drop was pretty good. I appreciated that. That was the only song that had rights for me in that morning.
Yeah. I think they could have just played just Star Wars music straight, and I think the crowd would have gone wild. Like, you can just play the Book of Boba Fett theme as in, and I will go ham. Like, I'm so ready to party when that song comes on.
But yeah, so Thursday we had our panel at 12:30, but before that there was the Lucasfilm showcase. So we decided not to queue up. Because
I really want to defend myself on this one though and be clear. I didn't realize there was going to be a standby queue for the morning panels that would actually allow people in, because there wasn't in Chicago. It was either you had the QR code and you got in, or you copied somebody else's QR code because on the first day they weren't scanning tickets and you got in, or you didn't get in and there were empty seats every day. And for this one, it seems like there was a standby line, but that really, really wasn't clear to me. So I was confuzzled.
Well, and the other thing too is like, I think it's a bit problematic to have the celebration stage. And if you want to queue up for that, you have to like, we thought you would just have to go to the other end of the entire complex, which is like on the far side. So they're like, oh, you got to go across to start lining up. But apparently there was another place you could line up for the celebration stage.
Yeah.
It was all very confusing.
Not very clear. Not very clear. It ended up being okay. But again, like the store and the celebration stage were on the complete opposite side of the queuing. And in the queuing only had 4 escalators to get everybody out of the queue and onto the floor. So that took a really long time. And there were people that
about 45 minutes.
Yeah, there were people that had 10:30 panels. So if you wanted to get into a 10:30 panel, you effectively had to line up 2.5 hours early to get into the celebration. Like that was a little confusing. For me.
And I know we're getting some of our negative thoughts out of the way right up front because we had a really good celebration. Yeah, Thursday was just a weird, an oddball day, and again they didn't stream any of the morning panels, which is a really questionable choice because we're like right next to the celebration stage or the celebration live show stage, which like at Chicago they streamed the Rise of Skywalker, the Mando panel, like that was where the big trailer happened, and like you see that video all the time of everybody on the show floor going nuts.
Yeah,
which
it's
was
like the greatest
as good
thing
as
in the
being
whole
in
world.
the panel.
Yeah,
right. And then here we are, like watching the Andor trailer on my tiny phone, and it's buffering, and like the celebration live show is just complete, like the stage is just completely empty and nothing's happening on it. So I'm just kind of like,
weird.
What? And like maybe I understand not streaming it to people at home, even though I think that should have happened because it's a pandemic and people have their reasons for not going, and the people that want to go are just going to go regardless. But at the very least, they should have been streaming it at the celebration live stage, because I didn't really get the sense of community. And you said it too, like you didn't really know how to measure the level of excitement for people at celebration, because there was nothing really people were getting excited about. Like we're watching an Andor trailer and like people around us are just completely
nobody knows
oblivious.
That the Andor trailer has dropped. Like and again, like my only problems happened really on Thursday outside of like the whole mask enforcement thing. So we're getting it out of the way. But it was so odd. When I go to a celebration, I'm going there for the unity of energy. And I know that might sound weird, but like we're all being back in person together to have this great experience, to all be vibrating on the same frequency of like excitement at a fever pitch. And that's what you really got with that Tross panel. And so I was so excited to like hear all the news from this Lucasfilm Studio showcase, which was a complete mystery. And then it's all happening on a tweet thread and everybody's just kind of like running around the show floor. So it was like very confusing to get a gauge of like where everybody was at, what people were excited about, what everybody was feeling. And I genuinely think that there was an experience that the people who were in one of the panels got, like in one of the stages that was streaming the panel, and then the experience of that day that everybody else got. Because what I've heard from everybody who got into that panel, it was like the best day of their freaking lives. And like, because everybody was there on the stage. They ended up getting the wristbands for the Kenobi premiere later, which was like kind of a surprise. And then everybody who wasn't invited to that, there was no standby line for the premiere on any of the stages. And so like it was very confusing. And then they moved the time up of when they were putting it on Disney Plus. It was just like a very kind of, it felt chaotic if you weren't one of the people in the room. That was at least my estimation of it. It was very confusing for me that day.
Yeah, and we went to like the Twin Sun stage and there was like 70 to 100 seats open for the Kenobi streaming premiere, and we were like, can we get in? They're like, no,
even
absolutely
in
not.
the back row, if nobody ends up showing up. And they were like, no.
I'm just like, nobody's sitting there. Nobody's using those seats. I don't understand like why, and I get it. Like they're just doing their job. That's fine. But
it was a confusing set of circumstances for sure.
It was just bizarre. At least at Chicago, if you didn't get into the morning panels, you're like, oh, I can just catch it on the celebration, Star Wars show stage. And that's totally fine. And it kind of made that more palatable and not have as much FOMO about it. And I think Thursday was a little difficult emotionally for me just because 100%. I had a lot of FOMO.
Yeah.
Especially because, as many of you probably know, our panel got cut short by a half hour because a fire alarm got tripped. We did post our 30 minutes that we did get on our podcast feed. So if you want to listen to our whole panel, or at least what we got of it, you can go check that out now. But Those things kind of compounding on each other was just a lot to handle on the first day.
Yeah.
And
for
luckily we rebounded really well on Friday, like clear heads, like we were ready.
Yeah.
And had an amazing 3 days after that.
Yeah. I mean, and we ended up having a good weekend, but this day was just very confusing. And then like the one thing that was in our control, which was the podcast panel, which again, so grateful to have that opportunity, ended up having a really good time with the time that we had. I'm very proud of that. Ended up becoming something that was completely out of our control. So it was like, okay, so we're feeling confused about this. And then we're feeling doubly confused because of this silly fire alarm that I guess happened on the second and third floors, but not the first one. So that was confusing. And then we were like, what do we do now? We ended up getting our mojo back. It was so great later in the day to go to Denny's with some of our listeners and folks who follow us on Twitter, and that was really, really wonderful time. And then we watched Kenobi really late at night.
Oh my gosh!
Rather, it was actually the same time that it was supposed to initially be happening. So
we stuck to schedule. Yeah,
we stuck to schedule. Yeah, it was Reed, Papa, and Lucasfilm who didn't stick to schedule here. But yeah, we were deliriously tired and just like us watching Kenobi sobbing and also so ready to fall asleep because we were exhausted. But yeah, like confusing day overall, but like had some real highlights to it, which I'm very, very appreciative of too.
Yeah, Denny's was awesome. Thank you to everybody who came out to Denny's. Like I was actually very surprised by the showing. We had a good like 20 people there. Yeah,
25 people there, which was amazing. And like, again, so eternally grateful. And I can't believe we actually did Denny's after all this time.
I know. Like we stuck to our word.
We said we were going to do Denny's and we did Denny's.
And we were so conflicted because they're like, oh, Kenobi at 9. We're like, our meetup's at 9:30. What do we do?
Is anybody going to show up?
Yeah, and we watched the first like 5 minutes, like the cold open with Order 66.
No, we watched. We watched the flashback into the cold open.
Yeah, like the recap. Yeah, and then we were like, wow, that's a really awful place to stop, and now have to wait 3 hours to come back to because I want to watch it so bad.
Yeah,
but it was a really good time. So again, thank you to everybody who made Thursday very special.
Mm-hmm.
Despite the hiccups, a lot of people reached out to us on Twitter and. That was really appreciated because it was a hard day. But again, there were still so many highlights from that day despite the chaos of it all. And let's talk about a couple of those big announcements on Thursday, if you don't mind, or do you have something else to say?
I would just like to say one final thing. And you kind of got at it there with, anybody who reached out to us on Twitter. Thank you to every single person who gave us a hug, who just said some kind words to us on Thursday, who asked if we were okay, despite all the confusion of the panel getting cut short. I don't really think I have the words or like the formed thoughts to express how much that meant to us. Just having people around us, I think during that confusion was really wonderful. So, and just, the support we needed kind of in that moment. So thank you very much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We truly did get by with a little help from our friends of the Force. The name means something, folks. It means something. Words. Alrighty. So let's talk about the Lucasfilm showcase for a little bit here.
Yeah. News.
This was like one of the 3 panels of the day. The publishing panel and the High Republic panel. It's funny because the publishing panel, we actually got to go to about half hour of it.
Yeah, which was hilarious because they got to start back up and we were like, okay, well, we don't have the ability to start back up. So let's go. And
they moved it a half hour earlier to entirely overlap with our panel. So I just think that's really ironic that we never thought we'd make it. But the Lucasfilm showcase was a wild time. I mean, we had John Williams conducting music. We had Indy 5 announced for next June. Harrison Ford was on stage. I mean, like crazy stuff. But in terms of like, new announcements, the first of which was Andor coming out on August 31st, 2-episode premiere. I love this. Let's keep doing 2-episode premieres because
they're amazing.
Oh, so good. So good. And wow, that trailer was nuts. We gave some of our thoughts on it during our panel. But again,
I was crying about it today, watching it before we were recording. Like it is a genuinely amazing trailer. And if you had told me that this was like an HBO show or like an Amazon Prime, like mega expensive production, I would have been like, yeah, you're right. Cause it looks like it costs money.
Yeah. I mean, it looked like a theatrical Star Wars film.
That, and it was not about telling you what was happening in the show. It was really about setting the vibe and setting the tone for what the show is going to be. And it was so absurdly effective at doing that. And I am loving Kenobi a lot, but like, holy moly, I think Andor is going to be my thing. The capital T.
Yeah, it's pretty cool to be getting these two shows right in a row because I agree. I'm really loving Kenobi, but Andor also is really piquing my interest. And I love Diego Luna. I love Genevieve O'Reilly. And the two of them being together, like headlining the show, like Mon Mothma is going to be a integral part of the show. Like not just a supporting character.
I can't believe it.
Headlining it with him, right? And there's going to be 12 episodes initially. They're going to start shooting season 2 in November. And so the second 12 episodes, so the first 12 will take us throughout a year in the Andor timeline. The second 2 episodes will take us over the course of 4 years. So the series is going to cover 5 years total before Rogue One. And then those final scenes of season 2 will walk us literally into Rogue One. So, we might find out what Cassian's doing on that one planet where he kills his friend Tivik. We might see some of the stuff really come across through the show. We might get Felicity Jones. We might get K2SO in season 2. And that's really special to now have the sort of like 5-year arc culminating in Rogue One.
Yeah, I think it's really interesting because I know there were leaks at one point talking about the show being like 5 seasons and then that got cut down to 3. And it seems like that's now down to 2 seasons, which again, that's all hearsay. That's all like leak and like industry discussion. So I don't know the validity of, 5 to 3 to 2, but it's interesting that they've kind of set out that it's going to be 2 seasons. And like, I hope it will be a 3rd because we know that we were really hoping for more of our other 2-season show that we love so dearly, Resistance. So, but I'm excited that each of them are going to be 12 episodes. I hope they're all going to be an hour long. I hope that they're going to be meaty and delicious and so good. And I have, no doubt about that because like, again, the tone setting was really good. And like, also this is a Mon Mothma, Diego Luna as Cassian Andor, like 2-hander here. Like I can't even believe Mon Mothma is going to be like a capital MC main character.
Yeah.
Like I'm living for it. But also Mon Mothma, it does necessitate the existence of a Bail Organa in the show.
True.
I'm saying, because if you look at Leia, Princess of Alderaan, they are in cahoots. So
it's the year of the Smiths.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
I really love how Diego described Cassian, how we're not going to recognize him, how he's a very selfish man. And so he's a guy who's waiting for this like awakening to happen. And it's happening during a time, as you're saying, it's a tone setter, this trailer. It's showing us that there is like an uprising happening. People are starting to stand up. Fiona Shaw at the end of the trailer said there's a reckoning that's about to happen, right? And so Diego said that this is a story about the people and the power that people have. And I think that's really interesting when you think of the time period of like the Empire ruling and like what does it mean to kickstart a rebellion, and Mothma at the front of that with her group, from the deleted scenes, like with Bail Organa and previously with Padme Amidala. And how does Diego Luna get to the point where he believes in the cause and joins it versus now being a very self-centered person who's out for himself? So that's going to be so interesting. And I think him and Mothma will sort of be head to head initially. And I'm excited to see like what transpires, what is said to get them to align their goals.
Yeah, that. And also, I mean, I think Tony Gilroy has said, you just wait until episode 104 while your whole opinion of Mothma is going to like change or go through the roof, or, and I can't wait. Oh, give me the Mothma content. I love my Star Wars women politicians. Maybe that's so bad of me, but like Padme, Mothma, give them all to me. They're the best. Leia, I'm obsessed with them. Anyway.
So we also got a Willow trailer, which is coming this fall, November 30th. And The Mandalorian was announced to be coming in 2023 with a trailer as well for that, which we'll talk about in a bit. Skeleton Crew with Jude Law was announced. So that's the new rumored John Watts series with Chris Ford executive producing alongside Favreau and Filoni.
Oh, this is set during the Mando timeline?
It is, yeah. So it follows a group of children lost in space, and they're trying to find their way home. And it's described as a show that stars four kids, but it's not a kids show. And I'll be curious to see what that entails. It sounds kind of interesting, but like you can't go wrong with Jude Law. I mean, the man's awesome. I'm excited to see him in a Star Wars. It feels like he's one of those actors that once he's in the Star Wars, you're like, yeah, this makes sense. Like, why wasn't he in one sooner? You know, and I'm excited for that. I'm excited to see like what kind of personality he brings to the show.
Yeah, I think it should be interesting. There are a couple of things that like don't excite me as much as other stuff for this one, and it's the Mandalorian timeline, but I am curious about where this is gonna head. And I think I mentioned on our podcast panel that like it reminds me a little bit of the Legends of Luke Skywalker, where they're all kind of telling stories to each other, and then we get these incredible stories. I'm wondering if it's going to be a little bit more horror or a little bit more like flashbacky, or what it's kind of going to give us in terms of an energy.
Yeah, I think we can discuss the idea of the Mandoverse all day long, but ultimately I think if the show tells a good story, and something that is self-contained, that's what I'm hoping. It can kind of stand on its own, and even if you're not totally invested in the wider Mandoverse, like if this is something people can watch and just enjoy on its own, that's awesome. So again, yeah, I don't know how it's going to tie into everything, but we'll see, I guess.
Mm-hmm. So now we have the books portion of this podcast. I think this is the majority of the books that we're getting here as the Thursday announcements, but we have both the Lucasfilm Fiction Publishing panel and the High Republic panel back to back on Thursday. And, as Brad said earlier, we did end up being able to attend part of that fiction panel, which was exciting. So we got some announcements from that, and also like a hint of what may or may not be to come. So the first one is Tales from the Rancor Pit by Cavan Scott, which is Halloween themed stories that include Ty Yorick. And remind me, is this going to be a comic or is it going to be more like a Myths and Fables? Do you recall?
It's a comic, so it's like his Tales from Vader's Castle.
Okay, that's what I
like
thought.
5-issue run. So there's going to be like one issue about Ty Yorick, one about like some ghosts, and like a mouse. I think like one's about a mouse droid or something. So, it's really interesting. I'm excited. I haven't read the Vader's Castle ones yet. I'm hoping to. I tell myself every October I will, and I don't. So maybe this is the year I finally kind of read all 3 series that he's released.
Yeah, and then there's also the hyperspace stories, which are like the new, like IDW did their Star Wars Adventures line, and I think this is going to be quite similar to that. I like the new title. Hyperspace Stories is kind of fun. And the all ages anthology comic series. So I'm looking forward to that too, because some of the Adventures comics were just like really, truly delightful.
Yeah. We also got Starlight Stories, which is the collection of the Star Wars Insider short fiction that's been released over the last 2 years. So those include stories from Justina, Cavan, and Charles following everyday people who are just doing their jobs on Starlight Beacon. So I'm excited to see those finally and to read them, as well as a new book from Inside Editions called Chronicles of the Jedi, an illustrated guide to the galaxy's golden age, by Cole Horton. So that's an in-universe look at the High Republic. So similar to, I believe it's called like Secrets of the Sith and Secrets of the Jedi by Mark Sumerak. So it's similar to that. And this will also include some hints at Phase 2 and Phase 3. So I'm excited to see like what sort of secrets are kept within those pages. And I'm sure you and I will comb through that book pretty heavily, and we'll be talking about it here at some point. I love these in-universe looks though at the Star Wars galaxy. It's always fun. It's told from like a narrator's point of view, and I wonder who the narrator will be in this. Maybe like Avar Kriss, maybe Yoda. Who knows?
Yeah, I'm looking forward to finding out. And I also had the opportunity to speak very briefly with Cole Horton as he signed my poster. And I was like, I'm really excited about this. And he was like, yeah, it should be really cool. And I think he was saying that he had seen some of the art for it and that it looked really awesome. So I am excited to see it and dive in for freaking sure. They also gave us a hint as to what could come, and they decided they were going to put a screenshot onto the PowerPoint screen, and it had a bunch of people that they may or may not be making books of. And
oh yeah,
and everybody in the crowd was like, oh, or oh, because it had like really, really obscure characters or things. And then it had like Admiral Ray Sloan, and you're like, oh. But it also had Veers, and we were sitting kind of by Veers Watch on Twitter, and I think he had a field day just seeing Veers up there. So I hope they make a Veers book just for Veers Watch, because Veers Watch deserves it.
I agree. That was funny. I really loved that. That slide. It was a good time. I love how, again, publishing is just for the vibes. They can really have a good time and do some fun things at these panels, and everybody who's in the know and is a reader kind of gets what they're going for, and I love that. It's like a little small community of Star Wars readers. I love it more than anything.
They're the best. I love the books. I think some people see books as like tangential to the Star Wars, and they're so critical to my Star Wars at the very least.
Yeah. And speaking of a book community, that was really felt at the High Republic panel. The first time pretty much ever that we've gathered High Republic readers and the crew in one place since the reveal back in February 2020. And even by that point, the crowd hadn't read any of those stories yet. It was reveal. And so here we are with people in High Republic cosplay, people who have read the books now, and
Geode was there.
Geode was there, yeah. And getting to see the creative team go all out and show their excitement and how passionate they were for these stories, and to hear the crowd's reactions to certain things. It was just such a cool experience, and really special as a High Republic fan to be there, be in that room. And Christina Ariel did such a great job hosting. It was a great time.
Yeah, it was so much fun. And it was just really cool to get to see them all interact together. Everyone blaming Cavan for killing off all their first favorite characters and their second favorite characters. I had a really fun time just kind of being there in that space where everybody was like, has been traumatized by these books, but also deeply, deeply loves them.
So just some general info we got about phase 2. There's going to be 2 chancellors, Greylark and Molo. We got a look at the Pathfinder teams, who are a mix of Jedi and Republic people who are going out and exploring the far reaches of space that they haven't previously gone to. So this is a time where like galactic communication's broken. Technology is not good because there's no infrastructure. They described it as like the Pony Express, but with droids. Like these droids will actually carry messages like across the galaxy and like get the information to where it needs to be. So that presents a unique challenge and a potential exploitation for adversaries out there, maybe. And I'm really excited to see what this age has to offer. We got the dank Grax, which is seeing Daniel Jose's art. so
funny because he was like, yeah, so I didn't submit the art in time, so I just drew my own, and I want them to kind of look like this. He goes, they may look silly, but they're mean. So, and again, we have all these images on the Friends of the Force Twitter. So if you're like, wait, what are they talking about? They're all there. Brad and I did some live tweets throughout the weekend, so to make sure everybody could see some of those.
Mm-hmm. And then we got a ton of cover reveals. So we got the Art of the High Republic cover reveal with a foreword by Kathleen Kennedy, by the way, which is just so
amazing.
Cool to see how involved she is. Convergence, Quest for the Hidden City. We got a new Dark Horse miniseries called The Nameless Terror, which is going to be by George Mann. The High Republic series by Kevin Scott is getting a new run. The Blade by Charles Soule. He described it as the most epic thing he's ever written. It's going to show us, the sort of Jedi gunslinger vibe with Porter Engle. We'll see his sister. We're going to see the origin of the Barash Vow, which was mentioned in Charles's Vader series, but also in Into the Dark, Des Ryder takes the Barash Vow at the end of the book. And so I wonder if maybe once we learn its origin, maybe we'll see Des come back in phase 3. Who knows? That would be pretty cool. Once we learn more about the Barash Vow. And we also got some 2023 reveals. Sarah, you want to walk us through a couple of those?
But I would like to hold for just a second before we run into the 2023 reveals. The Convergence cover by Zoraida Cordova. I mean, we are shouting from the rooftops about how much we love Zoraida's writing and are so excited for Zoraida to be writing a High Republic, adult novel.
Mm-hmm.
And this cover, I don't know who this Jedi is, but she is so powerful, and she is holding not one, but two pink/purple lightsabers. And it's got like, what I find so interesting about the High Republic covers is like the Phase 1 covers really took a different path from what a lot of like the Star Wars covers were doing at the time. Like we've seen a lot of different kind of styles of covers. And I think it's really cool that the Phase 2 covers are also looking a bit different from the Phase 1 covers. Like they're differentiating themselves between Phase 1 and Phase 2. And I think that is very, very cool.
Yeah,
so
I
I'm
agree.
really excited to meet this Jedi that we have not met yet on Convergence's cover. Then we have the 2023 books. So they're like, ha ha ha, here's wave 1 of Phase 2. And they're like, ha ha ha, here's also wave 2 of Phase 2. And we're like, oh shiz, okay, let's go. So the first one we're getting, which like I just about flew out of my seat, The Battle of Jeddah by George Mann, which is an audiobook original with a script version coming only a month later, which I think is awesome. The Battle of Jeddah back in the Star War.
Yeah.
Sign
we
me
love
up.
to see it.
And that one already has like a cover-ish.
And like Jeddah was referenced at the end of Rising Storm because I think Elzar and Stellan take a trip there.
Oh, they were talking about it. Yeah.
Yeah, and they mention, I forget what it's called, but they mention the place that the panel mentioned is in this book. So I wonder if those are connected. We'll see. Very exciting.
We will see.
Maybe
and then,
we'll see the Kyber, the Guardians of the Wills.
Please, that'd be so cool. It'd be so cool.
Be awesome.
We also have Cataclysm by Lydia Keg. So we have Convergence and Cataclysm. What's the third one gonna be? It better be a word that starts with a C.
Conundrum. Combustion.
That's good. Yeah, Convergence, Cataclysm, it's that darker middle chapter. So we don't have any covers for these yet, but that one will be, do we have says spring 2023? So no dates on those yet. Then we have The Quest for Planet X by Tessa Gratton, which is a middle grade. And then the YA is going to be Path of Vengeance by Kevin Scott.
All right.
Is it Path of Deceit, Path of Vengeance?
Yeah. Ooh, I see what they're doing. I see what you're doing.
That's spicy. That's exciting.
And Quest for the Hidden City, Quest for Planet X.
Oh, you're right. You're right. I didn't even realize that. Oh my gosh.
I love these naming conventions. Let's go.
They really sat down. They really sat down at a table. They're like, what if we named them all the same, but only a little bit different? And everybody was like, yes, let's do it. And I'm having a great time because when The Rise of Skywalker was announced as the title for the last film, I about lost my mind. I was like, it's an R action word: revenge, return, rise. So I'm having a great time talking about Convergence and Cataclysm and Quest for Planet X and Quest for the Hidden City and Path of Deceit and Path of Vengeance. It's great. This is this is literally exactly what I asked for in my Star Wars.
Yeah. It was just so cool though to hear even more about Wave 2, Phase 2, and man, we're gonna have so many books to talk about on here. We're gonna be just booked up.
Yeah, as if we weren't already. As if we were not already.
We're only through day 1 of celebration, so let's move on to day 2. So the biggest announcements on day 2 were.
Wait a second. We didn't talk about. Oh well, I guess we had a whole Kenobi episode, but we didn't talk about we had a whole Kenobi episode. It's fine. Go listen to our Kenobi episode for our Kenobi thoughts. That was also Thursday.
Yes, it was a great time. The biggest announcements from Friday were the Young Jedi Adventure series, which is a new animated show that's geared towards preschoolers and early grade schoolers, full length. So it's going to be set during the High Republic era. I will be watching. I don't care if it's for preschoolers. I will be watching because I will take all High Republic content that I can, especially on my TV screen. Gotta support.
Yeah, I think that has the potential to be incredibly cute. It's definitely on Disney Junior. It's definitely meant for 3-year-olds. But
we're gonna be watching it. What were such clowns?
You know what? Why not? You know what I'm saying? I loved Jedi Temple Challenge, and that was a kids game show. So count me in. I'm ready to go. I'm ready to go for the kids content.
Yeah. We also have Summer of Lego Star Wars, which premieres on August 5th. So it's going to be like a summer vacation style feature length movie, like kind of like the Halloween one and the holiday special Lego specials. And Finn is the main character. We also will have Rose, and it's going to be set after episode 9. So, it'll be interesting.
They've defeated Palpatine again, and they're like, we need a vacation. And so like that's a great premise for a Lego special. So I'm really excited about that. And our friend Meg at Meg Pen, as if you were writing with a pen, she has a great story with her Lego dress and going to that panel. That was really special. So go to her Twitter to find that out, because it was delightful. And I cry every time I read it because it's so wonderful. I wish we could have been at that panel, but I feel like there were like 8 other things happening at the same time. But we really loved the last Lego special. So I'm really ready for a new one.
Mm-hmm. And last but certainly not least, Jedi Survivor was announced for 2023.
But like just on Twitter, I don't think it was associated with like any panel or anything.
No.
Like I think they were just like, hey, and there's going to be a new Jedi game. And we're all like
super casual. Yeah.
We're all like looking around like, what? What? And so let's set the scene for the people about how we found out that this was a thing.
So like we had been in the celebration stage like all morning. Like we ran into Light and Magic, which we didn't have a reservation for. We ran into it literally 2 minutes before it started.
Yeah.
We got floor seats. We met Star Wars thrifting. So we sat with her and her husband.
She was so lovely.
We just stayed there the whole day. We were just like, let's just stay here because these are good seats. Attack of the Clones 20th is after this. Let's just chill out the whole day, right?
Yeah.
And so Light and Magic, super awesome. Cannot wait for that to premiere. Attack of the Clones starts. We're getting ready. We're getting amped. You know, Ashley Eckstein comes out on stage. We're so ready. We're like, oh my gosh, she's hosting. This is amazing. And I like check Twitter. You know, cell service is pretty bad. So I'm like, I'll just give it a shot. First thing that pops up on my phone is like Jedi Survivor trailer. I'm like, what is happening? And so like, we're not going to watch it with sound because that's disruptive, obviously, when the panel's going. And so we just watch the trailer with no sound, and we're just like, oh my God, there's a Sith. Oh, there's a back to tank. Oh, there's a pawn.
Yeah.
Oh my God, like what's going on? You know, and wow. And there's like a full feature length article on StarWars.com about it with like Stig Asmussen and like a whole interview. It was just crazy. And
we're all passing the phone around like, oh my gosh, he's alone. Like, yeah, it takes place 5 years after the first one.
Yeah. So, I cannot wait for this game.
Honestly, it was so wild to like be this news to just like drop out of the middle of nowhere while we're kind of like waiting for and experiencing the Attack of the Clones panel. It's so silly, but then we watched the trailer after with sound. It is amazing.
Yeah, I'm surprised there wasn't a video game panel.
Me
but
too.
I'm assuming they're saving more of that for like the separate developer showcases, like how EA has theirs, and
sure, yeah,
you know, etc. So probably saving it for that. But the premise of this game sounds really interesting. The fact that, you know, Cal and the crew are doing whatever it takes to stay alive. They're making connections with unsavory people in order to do that. And it's been 5 years, like you said. So this is actually taking place 10 years after Revenge of the Sith, which is also the same time frame as Obi-Wan Kenobi, which I don't know. I don't think that's a coincidence, but you know, I'm a clown, so it's fine. Yeah. But one thing I did love from the interview with Stig was how he mentioned he had tears in his eyes when he saw the BD droid and Book of Boba Fett. And I think that's just really cool for him. Yeah,
for sure. And I think all of us JFO fans just kind of also lost our minds when that happened. I remember being like, it's a PD, my precious baby.
Yeah.
But I will say the only thing about this one is that it's only on next gen consoles, which I do not have. So I guess the time is ticking for me to make an upgrade here.
Yeah. The graphics on this will be so good.
Yeah, for sure.
And Cal's character model looks even better. It looks just like Cameron Monaghan, like even more than it did before, you know?
Yeah. I would like to touch on just how this day went for us. I know you kind of mentioned it briefly, but we, you know, like we were rebounding from Thursday and we were like, we're going to have a great day today. And so we kind of make the last minute decision. We're like, we need to be at the celebration stage this morning. I think we need to be in that big room. And again, yeah, we're running in, we get these floor seats. We're vibing. We're having a great time. And then can we talk, like, Light and Magic was really cool, but there wasn't a ton of news. Like, we know it's going to premiere July 27th. It's going to be 6 episodes. I think a lot of it's going to be like initial footage plus talking head interviews. And guys, I seriously think it's going to be really, really good. I think it's going to be really cool.
We saw several clips from it, which were really well done. Interviews with George Lucas. I mean, that alone is a big deal.
Yeah, and I think it's going to be a really like inspiring documentary to Star Wars fans, to people who are really interested in movie making. And I'm really, really excited to watch all of it. And it was so cool to see the images on the screen too. I remember like we were live tweeting and like Silver was taking photos and you were taking photos and I was like nudging you guys. I was like, look at this one. They put up a new one. Like, you have to see this one too. So yeah, it was really cool. And then we were like, yeah, let's wait, because the Attack of the Clones is our number one thing we want to do all day. So we just kind of hung out in the center, which was fun and silly. And then this Attack of the Clone panel starts, and it's, as you said, Ashley Eckstein hosting. And then on this panel is Anthony Daniels, Doug Chiang, Tamura Morrison, Daniel Logan, John Knoll, Matthew Wood, and then later Hayden and Ewan. And this is one of the panels that you can catch on the Star Wars YouTube, so you should. But this was, oh my gosh, I forgot to mention the best part. Brad. The best part of this whole experience was the 20 minutes before, when they were doing the pose off.
Oh my gosh. This
was maybe the greatest part of the whole weekend. And maybe that sounds a little bit crazy to say, but, you know, they play games before the panels to keep the energy up, you know, keep people involved. And the host on the celebration stage did a pose off. So we got 8 people up, and he'd go 1, 2, 3 pose, and they would make some sort of pose, and he would come over and ask them what they were posing as. And it got terribler and more terrible and terriblest. Like, it just, I just kept getting worse in the best way, until a pregnant woman literally got on the floor and did dead Padme. And it was so brutal.
Got real dark.
The guy goes over to the other participant and he looks at him. He goes, "You know, you lost this one, right?" And the other guy, he like nods sadly. And because this woman is actually pregnant and she is just like going for it, sitting there holding her tummy, and you're just like, this is incredible. It was so funny. And he goes, "You guys are sick." And then the next 2 guys come out, and one of them is cosplaying and the other one's not, but then they both pose, and now they're both in the I have the high ground, I hate you kind of moment. And so they go, he goes over to the one guy doing Obi-Wan first, and he yells, "I have the high ground now," right? And then the host goes, "Dude, you better do such a good job right now. You better nail this." And then he puts the microphone down to the guy who's on the ground and reaching forward, and he does the best "I hate you." And like the screams erupt, and everybody's like, this is the best thing to ever happen. It was so, like, their brain cells were just linked up. It was so absurdly delightful. And those are the moments, I think, in Celebration that are sometimes the most fun, because like in 2019 I did a song association one, which was really fun, like on stage, and that was hilarious. So to just watch other people have that same amount of fun is a true delight. So that was the best part. And then this panel started, and it continued to get better for some reason, because it became the Tamura and Daniel panel. And I've just decided that it's Tamura Morrison Celebration and not Star Wars Celebration. And that like I'm so sorry to all the other actors who do like one-on-one panels, but like Tamura Morrison is the guy that should be getting that one-on-one panel. I would go hear him tell stories forever.
It's just incredible how he carried that crowd, and like
it was
the
amazing.
way he just told stories, and like walked us through his time filming Attack of the Clones, and like being a dad to Daniel, and Daniel talking personally, like getting really personal about how, you know, he didn't really have much of a relationship with his father, and Tamura was a father figure to him throughout his life. And I thought that was really touching. And then it would just kind of take a 180 and then turn into this like hilarious story. And you're like, wow, that really like went from very serious to like very funny within the matter of like seconds, right?
Yeah. And Daniel's just like busting a guy because he's like laughing so hard at whatever Tamura is saying, and we're all laughing so hard, but like it's just so funny. And I'm so sorry to Matthew Wood, John Knoll, Doug Chang and Anthony Daniels, who like didn't get a lot to say on this panel just because they like Tamara and Daniel really just owned the floor, and it was so great. It was so great. I wish we could have had 2 hours of that panel because yeah.
It was really cool to hear John Knoll though talk about like digital cinema, and like we talked a lot about that in our first episode of Attack of the Clones April. So it was really cool to like, you know, put the knowledge of what we had researched and learned about, and then like hearing it from them actually like talked about again. And like, you know, Matthew Wood showing pictures from the video animatics sequence that they did for the Chase of Coruscant, like seeing those photos, and that was just so good. And then yeah, Hayden and Ewan coming out later. I mean, that was just like thunderous applause. Everybody was freaking out. But for me as like a Clone Wars fan, seeing Ewan, Hayden, and Ashley on stage together, I mean, that was like Obi-Wan, Ahsoka, Anakin, you know? And so that was just mind-boggling. I think that was Ashley's first time, correct me if I'm wrong, anybody, but I'm pretty sure that's her first time meeting both of those guys.
She seemed pretty like excited and like really overjoyed. So I do think that was the first time that she had met them together in that sort of setting.
And she was like, "How you doing, Sky Guy?" And like everybody was clapping and cheering and hooting and hollering. And you know, she posted some photos afterwards with her and Hayden. So and I was just like, wow, like this is just so special, like to see this trio like in IRL. Like I don't know, it was just so good. It was just like unreal. I couldn't believe it was happening. I couldn't believe they were talking to each other. Wow, it's just incredible stuff. So, and I love the story that Ewan gave about how he told Daniel Logan when he opens up the door to go see Jango Fett. Ewan told Daniel Logan, "Pretend like I just had a really bad fart and make a face that says that," right? Yeah. And like getting those sorts of stories is just so fun and ridiculous, and that's what these panels are meant to be. It's supposed to be a celebration of the movie and having these fun stories that you might not hear anywhere else or have previously heard about. And it was nice to get into this panel after I had gotten into the Phantom Menace panel. And so I hope, you know, 3 years from now or 2 years from now, right?
2005. Yeah.
Yeah. 3. Celebration 2025. We got to get into that Rots panel, I guess. And George sent in another message this time. So he wasn't there this time. It wasn't a selfie in a restaurant. It was at his office, which is an improvement. But I'll be curious if he does actually show up next time. You know,
it was so great because he was like, "Hey, everybody, you know, this was a really important movie for me because it ushered in the digital cinema." And he goes, "People didn't like it at the time, but now everybody's kind of doing it." Was kind of the vibe like of the message. And I was like, "You're right, George. You're right."
Amazing.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun.
Friday was a really good time. We had Star Wars night later that night, and I thought that was a lot of fun, but at the same time it was kind of chaotic because you have all the Star Wars fans packed into one place. So of course they're all waiting for the same thing. So there are a lot of lines. Like Doc Ondar's had like a 3-hour wait.
Oh no, really?
And I'm like, I walked in there on Tuesday within like a minute, 30 seconds, not even. I just walked right in, bought what I wanted and left. So that was mostly just a walk around sort of night, like get the vibes of everything. And then like we were there till about 1 a.m. So we rode Star Tours to end the night and got prequel planets. What did we get? We got I think we got Geonosis, right? Geonosis and Naboo, I think.
No, I think we got Tatooine and Naboo.
Well, we got Geonosis at some point.
It was because it was in space and not on the planet. It was weird because we saw like the second Death Star. We saw like a Death Star being built. Yeah. And then we got the seismic charge. It wasn't like,
don't lie to me. I didn't dream this.
It wasn't like the asteroid chase. It wasn't like the asteroid chase seismic charge. It was a different one, I think. It was like a weird mishmash, but it was really fun.
And Boba Fett was there. We actually see him on the screen. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So
it was pretty neat. Mm-hmm. Okay. So yeah, those are just 2 days. And now we got Saturday and Sunday.
Yeah, we're in the back half now. It's almost over.
Saturday was a crazy time. Again, we were really committed to getting into the celebration stage each day. Because again, we had missed that experience on Thursday. So we were like, we need to start the day off right each day. And like, I know you didn't go to Mando Plus on Saturday, but For me, it was nice to.
I slept in a little bit. I felt rested.
Yeah, yeah, it was good. It was good. Mando Plus was a lot of fun. It was a very big deal. We had Rick Famuyiwa announced as an EP for season 3, which I think is well deserved. He's one of the best creatives in Star Wars right now, so I think that's a needed voice on that series for sure. And they showed the trailer from the Thursday showcase, but they added like a whole other minute of footage that included like Babu Frick. It included the ruins of Mandalore. It included Katie O'Brien's character from season 2 who worked with Moff Gideon. Looks like working with Dr. Pershing, who is back. The trailer featured Carson Teva. Din Djarin leading some Mandalorians, and it seems like season 3 is really getting back to the core of what I love the Mandalorian for, which is like the idea of like the creed and like what it means to be a Mandalorian, and really like focusing just on Din and Din's journey. And I know Bo-Katan is being headlined for this season, which I think is natural. I think it makes sense because she is a Mandalorian herself, so closely tied to the Darksaber and Mandalore. So that makes sense. And I hope the season kind of strays away from a lot more of the cameos and just sort of hones in on that journey more intimately. And I'm really excited. I'm super amped for just the vibe of that trailer. It was just unbelievable. Good. And seeing the N1 starfighter like in hyperspace and in battle. Oh man, it was a time. Mando has an R4 droid or R5 droid in his cockpit, and then like Grogu's in the front seat with him, like putting his hands up, like kind of waving him like he's on a roller coaster while they're spinning. And I'm just like, that's good. That's really good. So yeah, and we know like Mando hates droids and learns to love them over time. So to have him be working with a droid in a ship is kind of a big deal. Cool. So I'll be really excited for season 3.
Awesome. I'm really glad to hear it. When I saw that tweet from you that because I was getting I'm on the Friends of the Force Twitter now, guys. Be scared. But so I get my own Twitter notifications and Friends of the Force notifications. So like when people start liking your tweets, and I was like sleeping in, getting ready for the day, I was like, the panel has begun. And you say that tweet like, there are 13 seats here. I was like, oh, this is going to be a good one. He's going to have a good time. Everybody's going to have a good time. So I'm glad. Yeah. I'm like really glad that you did have a good time.
Yeah, Pedro was there. I mean, that was awesome seeing Pedro. And they brought out Lateef Crowder and Brendan Wayne too, which I think was a really big deal. I
was thrilled to see that. If nothing else, I think that was absolutely the right thing to do. Give them their flowers too, because they're integral to making that performance a reality just as much as Pedro is. And I was really glad to see that they were getting some praise as well. Did they get to talk on the panel at all, or about their experience?
Talked. Yeah, cool. It was awesome. And like Dave Filoni was there with John, and Dave was joking, yeah, it's our new show, like 3 Dads in Space or something. And I was like, that's really funny. So and then they brought out a little Grogu at the end. They brought out a little Chopper droid, which was pretty cool to see Chopper on stage. Like
life-size Chopper, or like little baby chopper like you got?
Like a life-size Chopper. Yeah, it was pretty cool. It was pretty cool to see Chopper. And then they brought out the new actress for Sabine. So that was pretty cool. It was a pretty cool panel. I'm glad I just got to see the trailer for Mando season 3. That was a big deal for me because I love that show, and I can't wait for it to come back in February, I believe. Yay. So be a good time.
Absolutely. I'm very excited on your behalf. I think that should be really cool. And I'm as excited to see, I think Babu Frick is like a ridiculous inclusion, but like, why not?
Yeah. Why not? Yeah.
But it's fun. Cool. It's cool that you said that you guys saw the ruins of Mandalore. Like it definitely seems like it's going in the direction that we all kind of think it's going, I'm assuming. So that's really interesting. And I'll be curious to see how that continues to unfold. I'll be curious to see how it goes.
So before like the second biggest piece of news for the day, I will mention too, there was a Marvel Comics panel. They announced a Yoda miniseries that's 10 issues from Cavan Scott, Jody Hauser, and Mark Guggenheim. Kind of shows us like Yoda's life throughout the High Republic, throughout the prequel era, key moments in his life right before, like him reminiscing on those before Luke gets to Dagobah, which I think is really cool to see maybe what Yoda's life has been like. And also Star Wars Visions comic, that's a brand new story. So that's really awesome. And I can't wait for that. But I think really maybe the thing that people are most excited for on Saturday was this next thing. You want to talk about Tales of the Jedi?
Yeah, so Tales of the Jedi is going to be a 6-part animated series of shorts, which are premiering this fall. They are written primarily or entirely, perhaps, by Dave Filoni. This is kind of like a pet project of his. He was like, I love my animation teams. I want to do some more with them. I kind of want to write more about these characters. I have more to say. And so they are going to be, I believe it's 3 shorts about Ahsoka and 3 shorts about Count Dooku, which makes me hope that we continue to get like more seasons on this so we can get more shorts with more different characters.
Yes.
Count me in.
This is really cool too, because like Ahsoka is a character that left the Jedi Order, and so is Dooku. So to kind of see Tales of the Jedi, the 2 Jedi that left the Order, and like how their paths diverged and how they're different from one another, but also similar in some ways. I think that's cool to pick those 2 characters specifically.
For sure. And I think that it's also cool because like Count Dooku means that Qui-Gon Jinn is going to be returning, voiced apparently both by Liam Neeson and by Liam Neeson's son. Which is
younger Qui-Gon is Liam Neeson's son, and then regular Qui-Gon is Liam Neeson. Yeah,
which should be really cool as well. And then on top of that, I think it's cool that we're getting like the 3 shorts from different parts of their lives, which allows us to kind of like see the full scope of their lives before we see them in other parts of the Star Wars universe. But okay, so it was just Amy Ratcliffe and Dave Filoni, which was already a great duo because Amy Ratcliffe is an excellent host and she was really kind of nudging Dave in good ways here. It was really fun to watch. But then Dave is like, do you guys want to see the first one? And we're all like, yeah, we want to see the first one. So we watched the first short, and
how long was it?
I couldn't tell you because they didn't let us check our phones.
I
was trying to send a quick text to meet up with somebody later, and the guy yelled at me. So, so I have no idea how long it was. Wasn't checking the time, but probably no longer than 15 minutes. But it focuses on Ahsoka's birth and her baby years, with her family in her village. And we're following Ahsoka and Ahsoka's mom as Ahsoka's mom goes on a hunting trip at one point and falls into some danger. They both fall into some danger. And it's beautiful. And I was so afraid, like I will maybe kind of resist the urge to give you the play-by-play to avoid some spoilers if people want to discover it on their own. But, I was so afraid that it was going to fall into a trope that we've gotten in the past in Star Wars, and it didn't. And it was wonderful. Like the relief that I felt. I can't even explain it. The relief that I felt when we did not fall into that trope. And it's beautiful. And then there was a 3rd seat on the stage. And we were like, who's it going to be? Who's going to be? And Amy and Dave are like, and the voice of Ahsoka's mom, Janina Gavankar. And I was like, I love Janina Gavankar so much.
Yes. Oh my gosh.
So I was
this was so
crying as I am right now. You can see I'm doing really well, super well rested, have totally figured out my emotions since Celebration. I'm good. I'm normal. And Janina Gavankar comes out. Okay, guys, I love Iden Versio so much. Okay. Whew. Get it together, Sarah. And she talked about what it was like to come back, what it was like to kind of voice Ahsoka's mom and also see the short. And she got emotional, and then she may have said some things she wasn't supposed to say. And so her and Dave were kind of having this back and forth. It was very funny. She was like, it's not. She was talking about like the planet they were at. And he's like, oh, are we at that planet? And she's like, are we not at that planet? So I don't know if she spilled some beans that she wasn't supposed to spill, or she was, or if she like said the wrong thing and Dave was like, I don't know, is it the wrong thing? It was very much Ahsoka lives.
Yeah, he's really he has those shears and they're getting close to the trust tree.
Exactly.
He might cut a branch off.
We're a little close to the trust tree on this one. That's what I was thinking while it was happening. So, but it was like genuinely freaking delightful to see Janina on stage again. And that was like kind of the thing. They didn't like Janina wasn't on the like photograph autographing session stuff, and neither was like Christopher Sean or Bobby Moynihan, but they all showed up and I was like, these are my faves. Like I'm gonna pay good money for these people's autograph and photograph. That's okay, next time I guess. But Yeah, so it was really lovely to see her. And then at the very end of this one, they got a trailer, which I had to duck out of this panel in the attempts to go to another panel, which ended up being full. So it ended up being for nothing. It's okay. But so I didn't see the trailer, but I heard that it was really good and that there were other characters in there, but I can't remember who they are off the top of my head.
Bail Organa.
Was Bail Organa in there?
Yeah.
I missed Bail Organa again? Okay.
Well, yeah, I mean, to set the scene a little bit, there was also a glimpse of Padme's funeral.
Oh.
Which...
Oh, and then also, there was an image of, Ahsoka fighting the Inquisitor.
Right, from E.K. Johnson's novel Ahsoka. So we're getting an adaptation of that, essentially in animated form, which is really cool, because if we get to see her heal those kyber crystals like she does in the book, that would be pretty cool. We've never seen that on screen.
That'd be interesting.
So I just gotta say, I'm so happy. We're really happy to get animated Ahsoka this year. I think that's really cool, to see more of that story. And it will be curious to see if Ahsoka does make it to Padme's funeral.
Ooh,
like what that entails, and if Bail Organa, if that's where we see Bail Organa is at the funeral. It seems like this show was described as sort of a tone poem with minimal dialogue, and it's more about the visuals than and that's how the story's told. Gavankar described it as very minimalistic, very quiet, very reserved. Did you get that impression while you were watching the episode that you did? It's not about the dialogue, it's about the visuals.
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me if Janina was in the booth for an hour and they and they were like, okay, we got all the takes of all your lines. And that's not to diminish her work, because she does lovely work on this. But yeah, my point being, it's really not dialogue heavy at all. There's a bit of music. There's a lot of diegetic sound, in-universe sound. And Dave also says that it gets pretty dark. This one was on the lighter side, and we see we hear rather Ahsoka's mom telling Ahsoka don't be afraid. So there's some, when the dialogue hits, it hits. But yeah, he says that these get pretty dark as well. So I think that should be really interesting to explore.
I also appreciated him saying, moms are so important. I'm glad somebody said it, right? And
right.
We don't see a lot of mother-daughter relationships in Star Wars. For you and I can speak for both of us in saying we love Tora and Vanessa Doza. I would say that's probably our number one mother-daughter relationship in Star Wars. So to now have another one between Ahsoka and her mom, who's named Pop-T. I know you didn't watch the Clone Wars, but I'm hoping maybe, you seem pretty excited about this, which is awesome. And I think it'll be cool for you to just be able to jump into it.
Yeah.
And maybe you'll grow a new love of Ahsoka through the story. You never know. And I think that's kind of the power of this, and to see these characters from a new light, and to see Ahsoka, little baby Ahsoka, so cute.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. It's going to be cool. I think this one is, I don't know if it's going to be a big hit or a sleeper in the fandom. It might be a sleeper hit. But I hope that people seek it out and enjoy it, because I think they're going to be really good. And I think especially for fans of Dave's work specifically, I think fans are going to really respond to more stories from Ahsoka, and just respond to the kinds of stories that he's telling. I think all fans will probably respond to at least something in these 6 episodes, but I think especially fans who are really big on Dave and his work will really love these a lot, which I think is exciting, because I think there's going to be something for a lot of different kinds of fans here. So I don't know what I'm saying now, but I think it's going to be good, and that's going to be fall 2022. So we're going to be really busy.
Yeah, overlapping with Andor, so it'll be interesting.
Yeah. And Bad Batch.
Yeah. Oh man, there's going to be a lot of Star Wars.
Yeah.
So some more stuff on Saturday, more on the personal side. I had my photo op with Ewan McGregor.
Yeah.
Holy moly. What a time. What a time. I got out of Mando Plus. I sprinted over to my photo op and I missed it. They're like, he's gone. And I'm like, are you kidding me? Because it was confusing. The ticket says get there 10 minutes early, 10, 15 minutes early. They sent out a notification on the Star Wars Celebration app that said, don't do that. Get there at your time. Don't get there early. And I was like, okay, I'll just go there at 12:40. And I go there at 12:40 and they're like, yeah, he's done with photos. I'm like, that's not what the app said.
Yeah, they were doing last call for Kelly on Sunday, 15 minutes before our scheduled time was.
Yeah, it was just so bizarre. Luckily, I was able to get a time change, but that resulted in me missing Tales of the Jedi, which was something I wanted to go to pretty badly. So, unfortunately, I didn't go to that, but I kind of walked the show floor. I got my walk in, saw all the different booths, bought a couple of things, which, again,
I did not really succeed, guys, at taking away his wallet. I'm so sorry to the listener who was really concerned about that.
I had free reign with Apple Pay. It was pretty bad.
It was bad. Yeah.
Yeah. And then I ended up getting my photo up at 4:00. It was a cluster there. There were so many people for that photo. I had staked out a spot like an hour before. So I just like ran in as soon as they called my group, and I was in and out very quickly.
Good.
It was very overwhelming. I shook his hand. I looked him in the eyes. I was going to say hello there, but I was just like, don't do that. Don't be cringe. Amen, Brad. Don't do that. And so I didn't. But just being like, hey, how's it going? You know, it was just so cool. And I got my photo op with Hayden at New York Comic Con. So I'm glad I did that then and didn't be like, oh, he'll be at Celebration, because he didn't do photos.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, so
yeah.
now I have the two of them, and I feel like I did it right. And I want to try to frame them both in the same, frame potentially.
Oh, for sure.
So Ewan was a popular character throughout the weekend, and I'm very glad it worked out.
He was like the main guy throughout the whole weekend. And it makes sense because like, obviously his show was the one that was premiering, but it was amazing to see him. Like, we didn't see him come out on the live show stage, but we did like see the reports from it. And he just like came and he thanked everybody. And you're like, okay, this was definitely unplanned. There's nothing on the stage, but it was so cool to see that. And it seems like he was genuinely really appreciative of all of the like positivity in the air regarding Celebration.
Yeah. And he had mentioned it's its first one. And he was like, this is amazing. He's like, I'm coming back next year. And everybody's like, yes.
Yeah,
yes!
right. Like, let's do this. Before we move on to Sunday, when we split up and I also had the opportunity to go to the cosplay competition, which is like always a good time because the energy is really good. You're just like there to celebrate people's amazing work and to see all the amazing, crazy things that they've done. And guys, the overall winner for this cosplay competition was Marietta Ivanova as Sun Falk, a Geonosian.
Whoa.
Like, she built this entire Geonosian, and it was amazing. Like, I was sitting there with a couple of folks and my friends, and I was like looking at them. We were like, how did she do this? Because it's a completely digital character. Like, there were never models. There were never all of these sort of reference things that you would look at for like a physical human sort of costume. And it was literally perfect. Like, I have no idea how she did this, and I am in complete awe. And she was like a very, very well-deserved winner. I mean, there were so many amazing cosplays, including somebody cosplaying Salaj Obdrait from, I believe, the Clone Wars, who like we were looking at the photo, the reference photo of the character, and we were like, oh my God, is that the cosplayer? Because it was literally perfect. It was insane. There was a Chura Imwe who I actually got a photo with, who was from Brazil, Roberto Tadahishi, and he was amazing. There were two people cosplaying Ben Quadraneros and Odie Mandrell, which was so great.
That's awesome.
And then there was like a Weehawk Trooper, which was like the glass beads. The glass beads were all hand placed over the entire armor, which was like genuinely stunning work. I was emotional about it. And then there was a Beastan. There was a Queen Amidala and the beating. I literally cried. I was like, I love this. There was a whole Bad Batch. The whole Bad Batch. I think if you went to the Bad Batch panel, you also saw members of the same cosplay group. And they had an Omega who had built some armor for herself. It was like a little bit older. And I thought that was really cool. It was like they kind of aged up Omega and had her kind of take on her own identity within the batch. But they looked amazing. And then probably like my favorite thing outside of all of these amazing costumes was there was like a couple kids who were competing in an under 13 category. And I just want to shout out Jack S. and Indy, who cosplayed members of the Bad Batch. And they were the sweetest little babies you've ever seen in your entire life. And we were all cheering very hard for them. They cosplayed Wrecker and Tech, and it was incredibly precious. So it was
awesome.
Definitely well worth it. And my recommendation is like, if you can get out to the cosplay competition at whatever convention you're at, it is always a good time. Highly recommend.
Yeah. There were some really good cosplays this weekend. I have to admit, there was a Bosk that was just incredible.
I knew you were going to say the Bosk.
Yeah, he looked great though.
He looked really
it was
good.
a great cosplay,
and he was also like talking in character. Like when you asked him a question, it was so funny.
Yeah, like he took a picture when I saw him with a kid that was wearing a Bosk shirt. He was like probably like a 7-year-old, and he was like, "I like your shirts." You know, he was speaking like with the Trandoshan emphasis on the S. So he did it great. But I think I also saw Grievous. Grievous was like the coolest looking one I saw all weekend. I was just blown away by that cosplay.
Yeah, that Grievous was really good.
Yeah. So hey, speaking of the Bad Batch, though, let's move into Sunday. So we went to the Bad Batch panel. It was really cool to see Michelle Ong and D. Bradley Baker. They acted out a scene from season 1.
So cool to watch happen live.
And then they showed us not only a clip from season 2, but also a trailer and some photos. And the whole crew has new armor, like it's orange and gray versus black and red. Omega's got a helmet now. She showed off like a really good mastery of her bow.
It was awesome. In the clip, it was so cool. And like, this was like episode 1, I think.
Yeah, and she's definitely been training. She's definitely been studying. She is not messing around anymore, you know? And not that she was messing around in season 1, but she's definitely like matured. She has longer hair. She's older. So that was really cool. But what were some of your key takeaways from the trailer for the Bad Batch?
Well, my key takeaway was that I was excited about the Bad Batch season 2, which is a bit of a feat for me, because I think I came out of Bad Batch season 1 going, okay, I think I enjoyed that, but parts of that were a bit draining for me. I don't know if I loved it. And I'm like really ready to love season 2. Count me in. I'm ready to go. Like that was my biggest takeaway. But like my other biggest takeaway was little Jedi Gunji, and also another Wookiee who may or may not be Tarful. I have not been able to decipher this. But as the resident Wookiee stan, it was absurdly delightful to get not only 1, but 2 Wookiees in my trailer. I was really going for it. Thank God Gunji lives, you know, like let these baby younglings live, these Padawans.
I don't think I could have gotten by if I knew Gunji hadn't survived Order 66. So
yeah, while we're here, #save Mill Alabeth.
Yeah, please.
From Brotherhood, from Order 66, please God.
Now you have to watch the Gunji arc with me for Clone Wars.
I'm ready to go.
To catch up, yeah.
Let's do it right now.
So yeah, we're going to watch that. Very excited for Gunji. I think that was the part, that and Commander Cody. Yeah. People lost their minds for Commander Cody.
Commander Cody, I went back and I watched the trailer that was posted by Star Wars. I don't think Commander Cody was in that cut of the trailer. But guys, Commander Cody is in this season. And he was talking with Crosshair.
Uh-oh.
So we were like, everybody was losing, they were melting down, like brains, like red error buttons blinking, like it was a little bit scary. And we were all a little bit worried, I think, for our team here. But yeah, that was exciting. We also see Palpatine and Masa Maida. And you had mentioned seeing Omega like in the Imperial/Galactic Senate chamber. I watched that back today. I did see that. So like, holy moly, oh no. But also more Coruscant, hell yeah.
Yes. We love Coruscant.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. What is she doing with Palpatine? That's wild.
I have no idea. And David W. Collins was hosting this panel, which was a great choice. He was so enjoyable to watch. Shout out to David W. Collins. I'm so sad I wasn't able to make Attack of the Chords, but I made up for it by seeing him on this panel. I was so happy. You have no idea. But he asks, like, we should also say that throughout this whole panel, D. Bradley Baker was switching between the voices to answer questions. And so then David would be like, okay, and what would Wrecker think about this? And then he would answer as Wrecker. And so it was really fun to watch happen. But David asks, you know, like, can Crosshair still be redeemed? And Brad Rao says, does Crosshair want to be redeemed? He's an interesting guy. And I'm like, ooh.
Interesting.
Ooh. Also, #redeem Crosshair. I'm here for it. Redemption for all.
Well, and the fact that he's working with Commander Cody, it seems like he's still leading into the Imperial loyalty a bit.
Oh, 100%. He definitely says good soldiers follow order. Does he say good soldiers follow orders in this trailer? I'm pretty sure he does.
I think so. And it's just interesting to think that Crosshair is going to go back to the Empire after they basically left him for dead on Tapoka City, you know?
Yeah. And then also, I think Cody is the one who asks, like, is this right? You know, and he goes, we're soldiers. This is what we do.
Oh my gosh, if Cody gets his chip removed, I will lose my mind. Because Rex already had it removed, right? And so...
Has Cody not had it removed at this point? No.
We don't know. This is the first time we've seen Cody since Order 66. We haven't seen him before.
You're right.
So
you're right.
There is a possibility here. And we saw Rex in the trailer. So if Rex is able to save Cody, that would be a really interesting story.
Yeah, I mean, I'm really, really fascinated to see what this season has to bring us, because it seems like it's going to get bigger and more focused on the batch and how they can help people. And I think that's really interesting and valuable. And I'm ready to give it a go again. I'm ready for the Bad Batch. I never thought I would be coming back around on the Bad Batch as strongly as I was during this panel, but like,
me neither.
I was really energized by this panel. So
I'm pretty hyped. I'm pretty hyped about this season.
Also, that poster is like the best poster I got all weekend.
Oh, yeah.
Such a good poster. Holy
I'm really
moly.
happy it made it home safely. No dents, no crinkles.
Yeah, I'm a little jealous of the folks who ended up going and getting that poster signed by Michelle Ong and D. Bradley Baker. I'm like, that could have been me.
Wait, where was that? Was that just like autograph?
Yeah, I think they ended up getting that item autographed by both of them,
Oh.
like after the panel, which I was like, wow, if we only had the foresight to think, they're going to give us a poster. Let's get the poster signed, you know?
Yeah, it was weird. I was really hoping for a Mando Plus poster so badly. They did not give one out.
Anything after that one?
No, it was so weird. Usually like they give out posters for every one of those panels. I thought. But
I ended up with a High Republic poster and a Hunters poster and a Tales from the Galaxy's Edge poster because they like had extras, and I was like, yeah, I'll take those. And the Hunters poster is really cool because on the back it has all the characters you can play as. I'm ready for Hunters too. Like I didn't get to do the demo, you did, but like count me in. Sounds fun.
It's fun. It's really fun. Yeah, I'm excited for the book too by Mark Oshiro. So we will definitely be covering Hunters in some capacity here in the fall. So well, besides a season 2 of Bad Batch, we also got a season 2 of something else. This is our last bit of celebration news before we start to round out our coverage here.
So the context for this is a little bit crazy. And the context is that Brad and I were like, yes, the Visions panel. That's our number one thing to go to on Sunday. Yes, Visions. And we were like, we got our times for the Kelly Marie Tran photo op. And they were like, yes, it's right after Visions. We'll be able to run out of Visions and go. Then they changed the photo op time on us to like an hour earlier, so we couldn't stay through the whole Visions panel. And we found out right before Visions that Christopher Sean was in the building. And I was like, oh my God, Christopher Sean is in the building. Cats from Resistance. I love Resistance. And so we show up to this panel. We're ready to go. And we have to leave halfway through, right? Literally, probably not 2 minutes before Christopher Sean and Bobby Moynihan and all of the other like English dub cast members are brought out on stage. Such a tragic moment for me. My biggest regrets are missing John Williams and missing Christopher Sean. It's okay. I'm a big girl. I'm handling it just fine. But I was so sad about that. Brutal for us Resistance fans. I ended up tweeting at him and he liked the tweet and he replied back. He goes, "That's so nice. Thank you." I was like, I just want you to know that I would have like stood up and been like cheering your name and being like, "We love Resistance," like really obnoxiously because I was so ready. But getting back to the plot. Visions 2 coming spring 2023. Huzzah! More Visions! More Visions!
Yes, let's go.
I was so excited to hear this because I think this is when the Visions panel was announced. All the Visions fans were like, "Is there going to be more? I think they're going to announce more. Are they going to announce more?" So I was really happy to see that they did indeed announce more.
Yeah, and it's not only Japanese anime studios, but it's studios across the world. So the Visions logo is red. They're going to feature Japan, India, UK, Ireland, Spain, Chile, France, South Africa, and California. So we're getting like an assortment of studios chipping in on Visions. And I don't know if it's like anime studios within each of those countries or if there's going to be a different type of animation style for each one. Like I don't know, like, is there an anime studio in California that they're going to use, or like an anime studio in France? Like, I just don't know what the styles will look like for each country quite yet.
Yeah. I think it'll be really interesting to find out. I think I would have loved to have seen a full another season of just like anime studios specifically in the same style that they did it with the first season. But I do think it is so cool that we're going to be getting studios from throughout the world kind of contributing and lending their voices to Star Wars as well. And I think it does open the door for a lot more creators throughout the world to kind of join this storytelling. And so I am really encouraged by what we know so far, and am really, really looking forward to seeing what comes of that. Because again, different cultural influences in Spain and South Africa and India than, in Japan as well. So I think it'll be really, really cool to kind of see what they all bring to the table. I'm very excited.
Yeah.
Also, James Waugh said the future for Star Wars and anime is very, very bright. So, does this mean more Star Wars anime beyond Visions? I certainly hope so.
Well, those were the Sunday panels. The rest of the day for us was just vibes.
Blast.
Yeah. I mean, we went to the Mando experience. We got reservations to that, which was I think that was like a perfect way to send off our Sunday, getting into that. And like the artwork, they had artwork for each day. If you went, you could buy a piece of art. And that day was the N1 Starfighter, like on Luke's temple planet. And I was like, oh my God, I bought it. Because I was like, this is beautiful. I love this planet. I love R2. I love Mando. I love the N1 Starfighter.
It was a beautiful piece of art.
It was really nice looking.
Yeah. But like this Mando experience, when I heard about this, because it was like announced either on day 1 or day 2, like later in the day, kind of randomly. I don't understand how it was announced, but we found out about this Mando experience thing and how you could do it. I was like, I don't really, Mando, it's not my thing. And then somebody told me, I forget who, I apologize if you were the one who told me, said to me, Chrysanthemum, the Chrysanthemum is there. And I said, Chrysanthemum is there? What? Chrysanthemum is there? I have to go. And so I was like, Brad, we have to go. And so Brad ended up getting, that reservation, as he said. And then we went and I saw Chrysanthemum, and it was the greatest moment of my life.
He's large. Very large.
Oh my God.
Much bigger than I realized when I saw him.
Yeah, very tall, very, very thick thighs. Good for him. But like, holy moly. But also like this whole experience was genuinely amazing. And I am so sorry that like this was not something that was more available than it was, because it was so amazing to see the costumes, the way they had like, I can't think of his name right now, but it was Book of Boba Fett and Mando all kind of pushed into one exhibit. Mm-hmm. So they had the guy who played the mayor, the Ithorian character. And so they had the Ithorian character like in costume, sitting on his like throne, his chair, with all of the other characters from like those scenes. And then they had like on the opposite of that, like a breakdown of what the mechanics of the Ithorian head looked like and how they function and how the actor would wear the Ithorian like mechanical head. It was the same thing for Cad Bane. It was amazing to see that technological breakdown and be able to see that in person. Mm-hmm. There was also a bantha that moved.
That also, was the best part. And the N1 Starfighter.
Little Grogu in the N1 Starfighter moved.
He waved too.
He waved. It was so precious.
Yeah.
They had all sorts of things. Blasters, costumes, Garcif Whip, gorgeous, stunning. I was just like taking pictures. Max Rebo, king icon. Cad Bane, Frog Lady.
Frog Lady was pretty cool. They had little miniatures of the Razor Crests.
Oh, yeah. Oh, the screen used miniatures. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then they had miniatures that they scanned to use in the volume, which I thought was insane.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
it was really a wild experience. I think any sort of behind the scenes, like museum type experiences for Star Wars are like always special. I'm still upset I never went to like the costume exhibit.
Me too.
A couple years back, there was one in Detroit that I could have went to, and I did not, and I regret it. But yeah, it was really cool. I would not be surprised maybe if they bring this to some museums across the country. Maybe, I don't know. It could just be a celebration thing only. but I really hope that more people get the opportunity to experience this because it was really unique. And like you said, yeah, it was very limited. They didn't do a lot of standby. It was closed.
No.
The standby was closed pretty much every day unless you got a reservation. So we were very fortunate that the timing worked out for when we needed it to, because we had some other plans on Sunday.
Yeah.
And that was getting a photo with Kelly Marie Tran.
Literally the greatest moment of my life. Like, I'm not, I know I just said Chrysanthemum was the greatest moment of my life, but like, no. We've talked about it before, but if there was one thing that, like, one person that I was like, if Kelly Marie Tran ever comes to a celebration, I will drop all the money I need to drop. Like, that is my top item. Like, that is the number one thing I want to do if it ever happens. But I never thought she would come to a celebration. And then she did. Sarah, don't cry on the pod. And we were matchy. She was wearing these incredible yellow pants.
Yeah, you and I wore the Be Nicer to Kelly Marie Tran You Jags shirt from Super Yaki. We got so many compliments. That shirt is like a compliment magnet.
It is. It was insane.
Yeah, and like I loved how we wore the same shirt. It kind of felt like a fun thing to do on the final day. Yeah, I don't know. It was
felt good. We felt right.
We outfit planned. You know, we could do it.
And she was so kind.
Yeah.
And so generous, just, with her energy and with her time. And the photo op went so well. Like, I literally don't think I ever have a more perfect photo of me ever. Like,
I agree.
I'm going to go get it framed tomorrow. I'm really excited. And then, we went to the autograph line a little bit later after the Mando experience, and I gave her a Rose Tigo Defense Squad button, like, challenge complete. I've given one to Ryan Johnson and Kelly Marie Tran. They say don't meet your heroes, but my heroes have been incredibly nice people. So, I did cry walking away from the photo op. I was like holding the photo, like trying not to like get my fingerprints on it while like sobbing a little bit. And somebody was coming up to me and I was like, I'm fine. Don't look at me right now. But it was amazing. And she was so nice. And yeah, gave her my button. She was so friendly.
She was the nicest.
You could talk now.
No, I mean, I got to talk to her a little bit too. And I just said, everybody wants you to know how loved you are. And she was like, oh my God, I can't. She's like, you're gonna make me cry. And I'm like, really though, like, you're amazing. Like, thank you for everything that you do. Like, and she was just genuinely like the nicest person. While we're waiting in line, like watching her like interact with people, she just genuinely seemed like so kind and so positive. And like, yeah, my photo with her too was just like perfect. Like, she pointed, I was pointing at my shirt. She pointed at the shirt. I didn't even know she was pointing until I looked at the photo after, and her face, she had the biggest like smile on her face, and I was just like, this is so perfect.
Yeah,
like I couldn't have asked for a better photo. So I was really happy with that, and I'm glad we got to both meet her as well.
Yeah,
what a time.
Me too. And it was a big
photos of Rose, by the way, that they had at the autograph table. They were great photos.
So good. Like, I should have bought 8 autographs.
Yeah, I was like, I would have signed all of those and kept them, because those are like, they picked some really good selections, especially some Last Jedi ones, not just Tross.
Yeah, and like one behind the scenes one of her and Billy Lord, which was also like just so delightful.
Yeah, that would have been a cool one to get signed by each of them.
Yeah, for sure.
That would have been good.
But I have to say, like, my favorite activity, like after getting the photo op, was liking everybody else's photo ops on Twitter and just like feeling I'm fine. Feeling the immense amount of joy that like everybody was getting from these photo ops, and seeing Kelly's face, like just so happy as well. It really seemed like she was feeling the love. And I think that's what we were all there to do. It was also a big day for Super Yaki, with everybody wearing their various Super Yaki shirts to the photo ops, which is so great. Like, I want Super Yaki and Kelly Marie Tran to do like a team up line together. Like, it'd be so cool. I'd buy every single item in that. Super Yaki, if you're listening, if you are able to do like a line with Kelly Marie Tran, please know I would literally drop my whole paycheck on clothes from you.
I had so many Super Yaki shirts packed for the weekend. Like, so many.
Yeah.
It's
Super
ridiculous.
Yaki. Guys, you should have been there. We would have loved to see you and be like, we love you, Super Yaki.
I hope Space Wizards 4 or 5, whichever one they're on, I hope that happens eventually, because I'm ready and willing.
I regret not buying the Star Tours shirt. Like, I have to like go back in time and kick myself to buy that one. Anyway, this doesn't matter. It's over now. But yeah, seeing all those photos was just like the absolute best thing ever. And I'm so grateful that not only we got to do that, but a lot of our friends in the fandom got to meet her as well and just have those same positive experiences that we got. I think it was a big day for all of us, honestly.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. That, I mean, if literally everything else celebration weekend had gone wrong, if there was no news, if nothing happened, but that was the only thing that would happened, it would have been worth it for me.
Yeah.
I'm fine. I'm normal. I'm not emotional right now.
I think like one of my biggest key takeaways, and maybe this is like
Sarah, stop crying on the pod.
I think for me, I don't know if you maybe want to share briefly like something you learned from the celebration, but like what I learned was that no matter what happens, you can always turn like a bad day into a string of good ones, because like we said up front, and maybe you saw like some of my tweets throughout Thursday, was just like, I had a really bad day on Thursday, and I'll just be honest about that.
It was tough.
It was very emotionally and mentally draining for me. Just with kind of the FOMO of the showcase and like the panel getting disrupted, even though I was super appreciative of the time we got.
Yeah, for sure.
It was just the first time we had that opportunity, and all of a sudden like there was just a lot of confusion, and I didn't get to say like hi to a lot of people that attended, which I was excited to do. And so it was a really tough day. But you know, I think we were able to just like go into Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, like with the mindset, like these are going to be great days. And we were able to do that. And I came out of the weekend having as good of a celebration and even better than Chicago, which I did not think was going to happen on Thursday. So my advice to anybody who goes to a celebration in the future is, if you have a bad day, do not worry. Just like take a deep breath and like focus on the positives, and like go into the next day like ready to have a good time. Like you do not have to let that one bad day or that bad experience like tarnish a whole weekend worth of fun, right? And I'm really happy to say that I was personally able to do that and to come out of it just so thrilled with everything. It was just such a good time.
Yeah, I think one thing that was really kind of powerful for me, you know, this was the first celebration that we both went to as the Friends of the Force.
Oh yeah.
And it was really meaningful to me to have the occasional person run up to us and be like, "Are you the Friends of the Force?
Can I take a picture?" I'm like, "What?"
Yeah, it's just wild.
People want to take a picture with us.
If you are listening to that, or listening to this right now, and you took a photo with us, thank you. That was really lovely. It was like genuinely so lovely to meet you. If we exchanged swag, thank you. I love it all. But like, I caught a listener who was wearing our t-shirt, and I was like, wait, that's me. Like I didn't expect to see like a Friends of the Force shirt there. So it was really cool. So if you were a listener and you came and said hello to us, if you came to the panel, if you came to the meetup, thank you. Mm-hmm. I don't know how many times I'm gonna say that before I'm out of, you know, like I feel like I've said it enough. I'm so grateful for this opportunity, and I don't know how to wrap my head around the fact that this hobby thing that we do means something to other people.
Mm-hmm.
But thank you, Brad. Thank you, listeners, for being there and expressing that to us. It's wild and weird and a real privilege. So if we didn't see you at this one because either our paths didn't cross, or you weren't there, we really hope to see you at the next one, or the next time that we as a fandom can meet up. Because real blessing. So
I echo everything you said, because it was just so amazing to meet so many people. And it's called Friends of the Force again for a reason, because we really aim to create a community here, and a community of people who can find joy along with us and enjoy Star Wars and have a good time doing it. And to see those people like in real life, and to hear like how they found the podcast or what they enjoy the most about the podcast. And just the fact that they recognize us and care enough to come say hello is just so, like you said, it's mind boggling. It's hard for me to wrap my head around that.
Because we've been doing this, you know, like in our rooms on Zoom for the past 3 years. Like we had hardly even met up. So it just was like overwhelming in the best possible way to be there with you and to be there with listeners and friends and people we had talked to online and all of the above. It's
so humbling too. Like it was a lot to handle, but thank you to everybody who made Celebration just such a special experience, like through the power of friendship. It was just, again, Celebration is about the people. It's not about the news, and it's not about how much stuff you buy. Even though I did buy a lot, regrettably.
And there were a lot of news,
and there was a lot of news that we talked about. But really, at the end of the day, this is about the people. It's about the fans. It's about the friends that you make at Celebration, or the friends that you see for the first time, or the friends that you see in a long time. And I take that away from every celebration. So, yeah. Celebration 2023 is happening in London at the XL Center from April 7th to the 10th. That is a long ways away. It's in Europe.
Not a long ways away. It is 10 months off.
Geographically speaking, I mean, it is a long way to get to London. But yes, it is not far away time-wise, less than a year. I was hoping for longer, but I understand maybe they want to get back on the April schedule. London will be cold in April, so it's going to be interesting going from like the nice, warm, sunny weather of California to cold London.
No, I much prefer the cold celebrations. Bring it back to Chicago for the love of God, because I would walk like out of the hotel and then do the 15-minute walk to Celebration, and I was already like sweating, and it was miserable, and I felt like I smelled, and that was unpleasant. So like if it's cold and I'm not sweating, sign me up.
It's a valid point. Yeah. I did like how walkable Anaheim was, though.
Me too.
Like compared to Celebration, Chicago was difficult with all the Ubering. So it was really nice to just like walk everywhere this time. But I'm going to try to make it to London. A big question mark for both of us at this point. Part of me wanting to go, honestly, is to go to Paddington Station and take a photo with the Paddington statue. And that's such a lame reason to go to London.
Oh, are you kidding me? You would be going to London for a Star Wars convention, and now you're like, it's lame because I want to go see Paddington. Dude, like Paddington is your other number one thing. It's not lame because you
they have a Paddington store in the Paddington London station. Oh,
whether you get to it now or like, by now I mean like in the next year, or you get to it like in the future, it will be worth it, and you deserve it. So we're not going to diminish your love of Paddington here on this podcast. Absolutely not. I will not tolerate any sort of Paddington like slander or diminishment.
Gonna manifest Paddington 3 coming out about the same time as Celebration. So maybe if I'm there's like a red carpet premiere, and I'll go before Celebration. I don't know. We'll see. So, because they usually bring like a Paddington bear, like a person in a Paddington costume. This has become a Paddington podcast now, so we're gonna stop talking. Simon Farnaby, come on the pod,
please.
Rogue One pilot, writer of Paddington.
I will say, like, it's bold of them to assume that many of us here in the US can turn around financially in 10 months for an overseas trip, but like, okay, I guess. But I do want to end it not on my own sad feelings that I probably am not going to London, but I would like to end it on when Tamara Morrison serenaded the live show stage. He was up there talking about, coming back as Boba Fett and the love he was receiving from fans, and he was, expressing his sorry that Ming-Na couldn't be there. And then he was like, I'm gonna sing. Do we have enough time to sing, Christina? And he's like, you know what? I'm gonna sing anyway. And he gets up and he sings, and it's the most delightful communal moment that could have happened. So I feel like that's what we kind of have to end on. I think we have a video of it, perhaps on Twitter.
We do, yes, on our Twitter.
Yep. Yeah. So go watch that. Enjoy that community moment. It's magical.
Yeah. Yeah, we have a ton of tweets from throughout the weekend. So like the cosplay competition, live tweeting panels, like go check out all the stuff we put out over the weekend. We had our podcast panel audio is up on our podcast feed. We have our Kenobi chapters parts 1 and 2 audio up as well, our reactions to that. And we'll be diving into episode 3 this week as well. So
yeah.
We are so excited. Again, thank you to everybody we met, everybody who supported us from home. We're just so thankful to have gone to Celebration once again, and we cannot wait for the next one that we can both attend. So
for sure.
with that being said, you can find Sarah and I on Twitter, Letterboxd, and Goodreads. Make sure to be following the pod on Twitter and Instagram as well, so you can catch all of our updates as they come along. And wherever you're listening to the show, please remember to subscribe to the show and leave us a written review if you could. It helps other folks find the show and join our little Star Wars community that we're building here at Friends of the Force.
We also are super, super grateful for our patrons who really did help make the celebration happen in little ways and big ones. Thank you to Amy, Anna, Brian, Carol, Cheryl, Clay, Danny, Davis, Dylan, Deborah, Donnie, Elegy, Huang, Jen, Knights of Ren, Levi, Leanne, Lucy, Luke, Randy, Rob, Saber Bouquet, Sky Talkers, Travis, and T. We are grateful for all of you very, very much.
Yes, absolutely. So once again, everybody, thank you so much for tuning into this episode. And until next time, may the Force be with you always.
Happy Pride! Bye!